gift for Dad's birthday. Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party. Click. Outfit for my girl's wedding. Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free U.S. mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience. Free consolidation up to £10. Competitive rates. Free package tracking account with live notifications. Free delivery and, of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
It is another beautiful Saturday morning here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and you are listening to WinFM 98.9. Good morning to all of our listeners at home and abroad, of course, those of you in the radio land, and of course, those of you who have joined via the different social media platforms. A pleasant morning is wished to you, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to tune into WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today's edition, Saturday, May 1st, 2021, of Inside the News. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today we will be speaking with a representative of CPL, and we will be speaking about this very exciting news that St. Kitts and Nevis will be hosting CPL this year. We will be speaking with CPL's head of marketing, Chris Watson, and this morning's interview promises to be a very exciting and good one. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for being a part of our Inside the News program today. We have Mr. Watson, who has joined us via Zoom. Good morning, Mr. Watson. How are you doing?
Good morning, and morning to all the lovely listeners in the beautiful islands in Kitts and Nevis. It's an absolute pleasure to be on the call. So hello to everyone, and thanks for having me.
And thank you so much for accepting our invitation here at WinFM 98.9. It is always a pleasure when we can speak with our regional partners. So we are here to talk about CPL, which is very, very exciting news for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course others who will be participating in this exciting event, this highly anticipated event. And I know there are many people here who are waiting for this to come. People are anxious, people are excited, and they're looking forward to this highly anticipated event. So we first want to begin on a smooth note, and I will ask you to give just a brief overview of what CPL is and the vision and purpose of CPL?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously now we're coming into the 9th season of CPL. It started back in 2013 with a vision to develop and invest in cricket in the Caribbean region, and a vision to really sort of get on board the wave and the explosion of T20 cricket that was happening at the time after the inception of the Indian Premier League, and I believe the Big Bash, which had started in Australia just prior to CPL. So CPL was the third major league to start, and you know, the vision really was that you know, the Caribbean absolutely needs to be represented on a global level in major T20 franchise cricket format, because it's got such incredible cricketing talent, such incredible cricketing infrastructure, and such incredible cricketing history. So it made absolute sense, and it's been repaid over the last 9 years by huge support from fans across the region, turning out in their thousands and hundreds of thousands, you know, every year come to CPL games, and also in the growth of the tournament's audience around the world. I think in the first year of CPL, the global viewing audience was something in the region of 50 million viewers around the world, and now in 2020 we've managed to grow the audience to over 520 million audience around the world. So it's really gone from strength to strength as a cricketing phenomenon, really, and yeah, long may it continue. So we're absolutely delighted to be able to bring the whole tournament to St Kitts and Nevis this year.
Well, I know, Chris, I know this is different times. We're living in a pandemic. This is COVID-19, and lives have been displaced. Now, what were the deciding factors for CPL being hosted here in St. Kitts, considering, you know, we're in a pandemic?
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, to give background to anyone who's not sort of been to a CPL game or not familiar with CPL games. So obviously, under normal circumstances, CPL would take place right across the region with games in typically six islands and different stadiums filled with spectators, and we would normally have you know, significantly upwards of 250,000 people attend CPL games every year. Obviously, in a pandemic, sports hugely affected. Certainly from the perspective of having fans attend, but you know, it's helped us in the last year to really grow our audience by the fact that people have been longing for sport, and sport's been an important release for people to follow while they've perhaps been locked down or struggling. So we've seen a big explosion in audiences, and this is really sort of when we've come into our planning phase for the tournament this year. The primary concern for us is absolutely safety.
Right.
Last year we operated the whole tournament in Trinidad and Tobago in a bubble, and we were very fortunate that bubble was maintained. There were no cases of COVID throughout the travelling cohort, and everyone was able to operate within the bubble, and we were able to put the tournament on safely. So our first criteria really is absolutely paramount, which is where can we take the tournament this year, which is safe for all of our players, all of our staff, and also, you know, the landscape that we're operating in. And of course, knowing that St Kitts and Nevis have only had, I believe, you know, 44 cases of COVID in the entirety, and there's sort of no active cases of transmission. They've managed the situation with COVID exceptionally well, and to us it certainly seemed like one of the safest, if not the safest, places that we could take the tournament. So that was a huge consideration, and then also the fact that ultimately we've always enjoyed exceptionally good relationships with St Kitts as an island. You know, the government have been exceptionally supportive. The fans have always been incredibly supportive. The games at Warner Park itself have always been some of the most exciting we've ever had. You know, we've had super overs, record run chases and totals and centuries. You know, it's always been exciting. You know, we've hosted a final here before, so to us, you know, it was an easy conversation to have to look at St Kitts as a front runner to host the tournament, and thankfully the conversations progressed really well, and we were obviously able to conclude everything to bring the whole tournament here. So we're hugely excited.
Thank you so much, Krish. Now, you know, questions have been raised locally and regionally as to what are some of the benefits of hosting CPL. Can you speak to that, and perhaps you can speak to some of the benefits from past host countries?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I spoke on at the start, I think now we're in a position where we as well as a really dedicated, committed fan base across the Caribbean region, we now have a real, true global audience following CPL each year. So, as I said, last year's audience was watched by 520 million people around the world, and that does can provide incredible value in providing exposure to Caribbean countries and highlighting them as tourism destinations. Each year we work with a independent research company, YouGov, which are internationally renowned, and they put together analysis for us that shows some of the benefits that we deliver to the countries that we operate in. So last year was our record year. I mean, we delivered exposure to Trinidad and Tobago as the host island that was, if they paid for that as advertising to advertise Trinidad as a destination, they would have had to spend over $50 million to achieve the same amount of exposure that they got. So that's one strong benefit of CPL is just the amount of eyeballs, the exposure that it can bring in a very, you know, it showcases what a beautiful region the Caribbean is, what phenomenal locations and destinations that we have. So that's really important. But then I think another key area is actually the nitty gritty of the financials that CPL brings. So every year, CPL, it costs, you know, a significant amount of money to put on. I think, you know, in the region of $20 million to operate the tournament each year. So there's the spend of putting the tournament on, and then there's the economic impact that drives. So that includes the amount of hotel rooms that CPL take up, the amount of spend by the tournament on the ground, the amount of spend by patrons coming to games, and it all ladders up into a really significant sum. I think the last time we were in St Kitts 2 years ago, the economic impact analysed and directly contributed by CPL was over $20 million. So we know that there's a big impact there, and you know, and that includes things like seasonal jobs as well. So when in a typical year when there's only 5 games at Warner Park, we'd still take on over 200 local staff in St Kitts to help put those games on. So all of these benefits feed back into the local economy, and that's something that we're really proud that we can do. I mean, in 2019, the economic impact of the whole tournament across the Caribbean was analysed at almost $140 million. So there's significant financial benefits, as well as the sort of advertising of the countries in question. And then after that, I think you're really then getting into the cricketing benefits as well. The developing youth cricket, investing in infrastructure and really, you know, leaving a legacy of improving and developing youth cricketers, and giving cricketers from the Caribbean region a global platform to perform on, which may well lead them on to bigger and better things. And we've seen a number of players go on from CPL to the IPL or other tournaments around the world as a result of being seen playing well at CPL. So yeah, there's a huge number of benefits, and I fully expect that this year in St Kitts won't be any different to that. We'll be able to demonstrate a very tangible benefit to St Kitts as a tourist destination. We'll be able to contribute extensively from a financial perspective to the local economy. And we'll also put on some phenomenal cricket, which will really engage and inspire the local fans and the next generation of cricketers as well. So as we did in Trinidad last year, and we're absolutely thrilled to be coming here with the tournament kicking off on the 28th of August.
And Chris, I too would like to agree with you. I do believe that here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we will benefit. The economy will benefit from the impact that CPL will bring. We are talking about restaurants, hotels, marketing personnel, event staff. We're talking about our local people, many of whom have not worked for a year because of the pandemic, and so I think the hosting of this event will allow for them to provide for their families, and even if you're not given that opportunity to benefit directly from the hosting of CPL, I think in some way all of us would benefit, whether it be directly or indirectly. Chris, before we continue, I'd like to take a short break to say thank you to our sponsors, and we will be back shortly to continue this interview. If you're listening to WinFM 98.9 for another edition of Inside the News. I am speaking with Chris Watson. He is the head of CPL's marketing team, and we are sharing the good news that St. Kitts is hosting CPL. Let's take this short break, and we will be right back.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drugstore's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Good morning again, and welcome back to Inside the News here on 1FM 98.9. I am your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Again, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule to be a part of this program. Good morning to all of you who have joined via the radio land, of course, those at home and abroad, and those of you who have joined via the different social media platforms. If you are just tuning in, you are listening to an interview with Chris Watson, and he is the head of CPL's marketing team, and we're having a conversation about the exciting news that St. Kitts will be hosting CPL this year. Now, Chris, if we may continue, as earlier alluded to, we are in a pandemic, and we have been faced with a number of challenges, not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but across the region, across the world. And so when we received the news, or when the news, the exciting news, was shared that St. Kitts will be hosting CPL, you know, people started asking, what about the safety protocols? As you mentioned before, sports and, you know, if you're having sports, you should have or may have spectators, your fans, to make noise and you know, boost up your players. And so, if you can speak to some of the initial plans as it relates to the hosting of CPL during a pandemic in terms of safety protocols, restrictions, and basically what people can expect in terms of COVID-19 protocols. Can you provide an overview of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, as I touched upon earlier, when CPL took place last year, we were actually the first tournament that came back after the initial sort of first wave of lockdowns around the world. We were the first sort of franchise tournament to operate within a bubble. So we have some very good learnings from our experiences last year, in as much as procedures of bringing players in from abroad en masse into a Caribbean island, and keeping everyone safe, contained, testing upon arrival, quarantine period, and maintaining a biosecure bubble as well. And then, of course, the next sort of layer beneath that of just general sort of safety protocols at every aspect of the tournament, down to, you know, sanitizing the ball, or sanitization and cleaning facilities availability, and social distancing, and so on. So we're starting from a point of experience, but obviously the situation's different a year on, and we're of course we're coming to St. Kitts. This is a different island altogether, with a different situation, different complexities. So we don't have a fully confirmed plan yet. However, what we're doing is we're going to be putting together a local organising committee and a working group with, which is already, the process has already started on that front, with some key personnel from St. Kitts and Nevis government, and also from CPL. So we'll be liaising with, you know, the chief medical officer in St. Kitts and Nevis, key operational staff, to make sure that everything we do is planned down. Every last detail is planned to ensure that everything is absolutely as paramount with safety as it can possibly be. So we'll be working with the government to look at all of these aspects, like, as I say, you know, testing everyone prior to them traveling to the region, testing them when they arrive, quarantine periods, vaccination of as many of the cohort as possible before they travel as well, and just making sure that there's absolutely no way that there's any risk exposure whatsoever to the island, because obviously the island has, St. Kitts and Nevis have managed the pandemic, as I said earlier, exceptionally well. So we certainly would not want to put that in jeopardy in absolutely any way, shape or form. But as I say, we're coming at this from a track record of managing things very well ourselves last year, with no cases brought into the region. So we fully expect that we'll be able to have a extremely safe tournament. And what's to me the most exciting part of the whole process is that we will be able to see fans back in the stadium for CPL. And, you know, CPL is the biggest party in sport. So without fans, it's not quite the same proposition. So this year we'll be able to have fans back at the games at Warner Park if they're fully vaccinated. So to me, that as I say, that's hugely exciting, and that's, you know, a great opportunity for those people who are vaccinated to come to the games, or if you're not already vaccinated, to go and take the vaccine, and then you can come and enjoy the cricket and have a fantastic time and watch some world-class players in action. So as I say, we will be working very closely with all key stakeholders to make sure it's absolutely safe in all aspects for everyone involved in the process.
And Chris, I would say that minds have been put at ease because, when the announcement came that St. Kitts will be hosting CPL, those were some of the questions that were raised as to, how will the protocols be like, COVID-19 restrictions, in terms of how many people will be able to attend, and will it be for people that have taken the vaccine. What I have realized over the past few days here on the ground, I think it created somewhat of a push for people to go out and take the vaccine, particularly among the fans of CPL. I've been monitoring Facebook and other social media platforms, and I see some cricket fans saying, well, I have taken the vaccine because I want to attend CPL, and I want CPL to be an exciting event. Others have said, well, I'm going to take the vaccine. No. And so CPL coming to St. Kitts is indeed, in my opinion, bringing some benefits. You have the economic benefits and health benefits in terms of encouraging people to get vaccinated against the coronavirus disease. But looking at the economic benefits is the big picture that we are all looking at, because, again, it will help those people who have been out of work for a very long time. And even if you're not given that opportunity to benefit directly from the hosting of the event, you may benefit indirectly. So I am pleased with the announcement, and I look forward to an exciting time come August. And I think cricketers, the fans, everyone is indeed excited. Now, Chris, if we may continue, if you can speak to the status of the teams, and when will we get that announcement?
Well, if I can just pick up on something that you said a second ago, actually, about the economic impact, that just to round off an earlier point, obviously there's going to be 200 plus people coming onto the island who will be getting hotel rooms for. I think in a typical CPL season, we take up about 35,000 hotel nights. So that gives you an idea for the scale of the investment that we'll be making in accommodation. But also, those people will be on island for, a significant period of time. So there'll be a lot of spending in the local area. So to your point, I think there will be a big boost directly from the people coming in terms of their spend on island as a sort of almost like a tourism play. But then also we will be employing staff locally as well to, operation staff, police, fire, security staff, vendors, marketing staff, so we will be making a significant push on that front as well in terms of staff recruitment. And then a key thing as well is that I think there's the legacy effect of the economic impact. And by that, I think just by the huge scale of the exposure around the world, we would hope that this will drive significant tourism for months and years to come to the island. I think we know from surveys that we've done, we know that CPL on a typical year drives several thousand people directly to St. Kitts who come just for the CPL games from some of the other islands and other parts of the world. So maybe that can happen, if people are vaccinated, they can travel to the games, but also the light that will shine on St. Kitts as well will, from a tourism perspective, I'm sure will inspire many people around the world to want to book holidays to the region, and you'll see that sort of spill-on effect of the economic impact in the sort of more medium to longer term as well. So I'd really hope that people will see it as a very positive piece, both as it happens and then afterwards. But then, to come on to your next question about players for the real cricket fans amongst us, I think if people didn't notice, there was a really big announcement yesterday, particularly for St. Kitts, St Kitts have actually done a player trade this year. So they have swapped Dinesh Ramdin with Trimbago Knight Riders for Dwayne Bravo. So DJ Bravo, the champion, will be turning out for the St Kitts and Nevis Patriots for this season of CPL. So it doesn't really get any bigger that we're kicking off the player announcements with Dwayne Bravo joining the Patriots. As far as the rest of the teams, I think we'll start to see from the next few days further announcements along the same lines, where some of the retained players from each of the squads will be started to be announced, and then we'll build up with further announcements over the coming weeks towards our draft, where any remaining slots in the team squads will be picked, and some of the overseas superstar signings will be revealed as well, which will be the end of this month. So really the next sort of 3-4 weeks are going to be absolutely jam-packed with player announcements, and people can start to get excited about the Patriots' chances of lifting the title. But as I say, it doesn't really get any bigger than the fact that they've signed Dwayne Bravo for the tournament this year. So it's a great way to kick things off, and I'm sure there'll be further exciting pieces of news in due course.
Definitely. And as I said before, people are looking forward to further announcements. People are excited. The atmosphere is good, and people are really looking forward to St. Kitts hosting CPL this year again. You know, I've been talking to people, and people are saying, well, I've been waiting for this news forever, and now that the opportunity is here, I am definitely going to take advantage of it. I'm going to make sure everything is in place. I'm going to go and get vaccinated, and I am going to make sure I am prepared to attend CPL. And as we spoke about the economic benefits, you have these small businesses, and you have young entrepreneurs that I believe will start their preparation as to what services they would like to offer, or they will be offering for CPL this year. So again, a lot of good news, and people are definitely looking forward to CPL. Now, the last obvious question for you, Chris, will be what can people look for, or what should we expect come August 2021?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be excited about. I think first and foremost, I think safety is the most important thing. Yes. because of the current climate that we're in, and the fact that fans coming to the games will all be vaccinated means that it's going to be the safest possible fan experience of any kind of sporting event possibly in the world, really, at the current time. And also, you know, everyone involved in CPL coming into the island will have rigorous testing and quarantining protocols and vaccinations for as many of the cohort as is possible, to ensure that there's absolutely no risk to any of the island. So safety will be one thing that can be certainly expected and come August. But I think we want the tournament this year to be much more like a typical CPL. Last year for sport has been a very difficult one, and I personally don't feel it's the same without fans. You know, sport does have a unique property when there's fans in stadiums bringing the vibe and having a great time. And CPL are the biggest party in sport, so we know that when fans are in stadiums partying with music, dancing, you know, having a great time with their friends and family, there's nothing quite like it. So we certainly hope that there'll be much more of that this year. We hope there'll be a great experience for everyone who comes to the games, and also we hope that the cricket will be fantastic. You know, we have 33 games all at Warner Park, but we are putting a huge amount of effort into preparation of the cricket pitches to make sure that the cricket's as good as can possibly be. So flying in a international pitch consultant, many weeks before the tournament to work with the ground staff at Warner Park to make sure that the conditions are absolutely perfect so that we can get some really fantastic matches. And typically the matches at Warner Park are always phenomenally exciting. So I think we're going to see some great cricket and we're going to see some really world-class players. Obviously we have the T20 Cricket World Cup coming up later in the year. So I think a lot of cricketers will have their eye on that and wanting to be selected. So I'm hoping that we're going to have a very, very good standard of players signing up for CPL this year. And when fans start to see that come to fruition over the coming weeks with the announcements that we've got, that, there's going to be, I'm sure the buzz is going to only grow and there's going to be, even more excitement. So as I say, with Dwayne Bravo signing for St Kitts, that's a great way to kick things off. But there's going to be further big names involved, I'm sure. So I think there's, people coming to the games will be able to see great cricketers, and it's going to be fantastic entertainment. All of the stuff that you guys love about CPL, music, entertainment, action. It's all going to be happening, and it's going to be a great night out for anyone who comes. So we're really looking forward to making it the best it can possibly be. And I would encourage any fans out there to get their jabs, get involved, and when the time's right, get a ticket and come on down and enjoy the event.
And thank you so much, Chris, for your response. Chris, let us take a short break to say thank you to our sponsors, and when we come back, I'll just ask you to give your closing remarks. Thank you so much. Let's take a short break.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
People make the world go.
Welcome back to Inside the News on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. If you were listening, this was another edition of Inside the News, this time with the head of CPL's marketing team, Mr. Chris Watson. And we spoke about the exciting news that St. Kitts will be hosting CPL this year. Chris, if you may, give your closing comments.
Yes. No. Well, thank you everyone for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. So we're hugely excited to be bringing the whole tournament to St Kitts and Nevis this year. All 33 games of CPL's 9th edition, which will start on the 28th of August at Warner Park. We'll shortly be confirming the full schedule, but it will run towards the sort of latter part of September. So as I say, 33 games at Warner Park. We're going to have many of the world's best cricketers flying in from around the world. We'll be working with all the key stakeholders from the government and local organisation to ensure that everyone who comes into the region from CPL does so in a safe way. We'll be working and operating fully within local sort of safety rules, regulations and protocols, if testing, quarantining, vaccinations, wherever is necessary to be agreed with the government. We'll be allowing fans to come to games, which is hugely exciting, and subject to fans having their vaccine. So we're really looking forward to having as many people from St Kitts and Nevis come to the games and watch world-class cricket. We really hope that CPL will be contributing directly to the local economy through hotel rooms booked, through our significant spend in putting the tournament on the island, and also will be shining the best possible light on St Kitts and Nevis as a fantastic tourism destination to the rest of the world. In 2020, our global audience was 520 million viewers. So we're expecting, again, a very significant audience around the world to be watching and seeing St Kitts in all its glory, and people wanting to frantically book holidays and trips to come to the beautiful place. So I think we want to have a positive event and leave a really positive, lasting impact. And we're really excited that we've got such a great relationship with St Kitts as an island and a government. And it's always been a fantastic place that we've loved coming and bringing our games to, and we're excited that we're able to do that this year in its entirety. So we can't wait to kick things off and get things started and let the cricket do the talking on the pitch. So thank you to every single person who's supported CPL over the years and come to games and followed us on social media or talked about us and supported us. So without fans and the support of people across the region, the tournament wouldn't be possible. So thank you so much, and we look forward to your support again this year. It's hugely appreciated, and we're going to make the tournament the best it can possibly be, and make the biggest party in sport even bigger if possible.
And thank you so much, Chris, for accepting our invitation here at 1FM. Thank you so much for being on our program, and we look forward to having you back in the near future to speak about the developments and further announcements about CPL and what St Kitts and Nevis should look forward to when we host CPL in August of this year. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, and I wish God's speed. I wish the very best for the hosting of CPL this year. And as I said before, trust me, people are looking forward to this. The atmosphere is good, people are excited, and everybody is saying, well, I want to be at CPL. I want to be at CPL. And so it is something that is really good for us here in St Kitts and Nevis, and I too look forward to it. Thank you again so much for accepting our invitation, and continue to have a good one. Take care.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Chris Watson, the head of CPL's marketing team, and we were having a conversation around the recent announcement that CPL will be coming to St. Kitts this year, August, and they will be, over the coming weeks, rolling out some developments and announcements as it relates to CPL. Before I continue, I must give a birthday shout out to Mr. El Comido Tanito Willett. He is celebrating today. He is a former West Indian cricketer, who played in 5 tests from 1973 to 1974. And he made his first class debut for Leeward Islands back in the 1970 at the age of 17, and played his last match in the 1988 season. He took 8 for 73 and 3 for 44 for the West Indies against Glamorgan in 1973. In just some history, in July of 2010, Nevis's primary sporting venue, Grove Park, was renamed El Comido T. Willett Park in his honor. And the renaming ceremony was a major event for the island, with several members of the NIA participating, including the Premier at the time. And so today, Mr. Willett is celebrating. Mr. Willett, if you're listening, blessed birthday greetings. And I wish you continued health and strength. And I also wish you God's speed and God's guidance. Let us take a short break to say thank you to our sponsors, and we will be back to continue our program. It is 11:47, so we will end at 12 for the headline news. You are listening to Inside the News here on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Gift for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Ah, outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free U.S. mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience, free consolidation up to £10, competitive rates, free package tracking account with live notifications, free delivery, and of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It is now 11:50, so we only have 10 minutes left here on our program. For those of you who tuned in late, we were speaking with Mr. Chris Watson, and he is the head of CPL's marketing team. And of course, we were talking about the exciting news that St. Kitts and Nevis will be hosting CPL this August. And so we spoke about what is expected come August this year. I know CPL has a number of fans here in St. Kitts and Nevis and, of course, across the Caribbean region. And so, you know, with the announcement that the quarantine time has been reduced to 9 days, and you know, as we get closer and as people continue to go out and get vaccinated, I think that may change, where you may have the quarantine days reduced. And so there are a number of benefits to be that we will get from hosting this event. Again, we're talking about the hotels, the restaurants, the young entrepreneurs, small businesses. One way or the other, they would benefit directly or indirectly. And so that was the gist of our Inside the News program here today. I am just going to open the phone lines right now to get some calls from our listeners and for you to comment on your opinion of St. Kitts hosting CPL this year. The numbers to call are 466-0989. We have a caller? We have no caller. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762 and 662. Also, you can send us a WhatsApp at 662-2204. 662-2204. Call us and, share your opinion on St. Kitts, your view on St. Kitts making that decision to host CPL. Yes, times are different and, people are looking forward to it. I think the biggest question on the table was the restrictions on COVID-19 protocols. We have a caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Yeah, man. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, thanks. And you?
Yeah, well, I had a hard question for your guest that you had on. I would like to ask this question directly to him. Basically, I was trying to find out, was there any consideration given to the Nevis side for Nevis to host some type of games there? It's always been a debate back and forth between Nevis and St. Kitts with this cricket thing, being that Nevis has produced so many West Indies players. I just heard you mention that today is El Camino Willett's birthday.
Yes.
I just wanted to send out happy birthday to you, Elko, man. Thanks for putting Nevis on the map at an early age and for inspiring all the youngsters in Nevis like myself. And I just wanted to ask that guy directly, but I didn't get a chance. I was calling him, but I guess he wasn't taking questions for him. But, I would have just liked to find out if there was any consideration given to Nevis to hosting a game, and if the venue in Nevis is not up to par, if the CPL, organizers, if they was willing to collaborate with the Nevis Island administration to get El Camino Park ready for a game and host a game there. So I just wanted to find that out.
Right, thank you. Right, thank you so much.
Thanks. Before you go, you still there?
Yes, I'm here still.
Okay, if they're not going to host a game in Nevis, right, could they at least put on like a media day on the island of Nevis so at least the youngsters can come out and meet some of the players? Those are two hard concerns that I wanted to pose to that guy directly. If there's any way you could come back with information like that for the public, I'll be happy to get that information. But at least, they should at least put on some type of media day in Nevis at least, man. All right? Okay, thank you very much, bro.
Right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. You are listening to Inside the News here on 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. With regards to your question, Nevis, yes, has over the years produced a number of cricketers, and it is something that Nevis is proud of. It is something that we are proud of, as a division. We, at this time, do not have the adequate facility, the necessary facility to host CPL. However, I would hope that businesses and young entrepreneurs on Nevis would be benefiting from some of the economic activities that we would generate from the hosting of CPL this year. Your suggestion to, with having a media day where young cricketers on Nevis can meet with the cricketers that will be coming for CPL is definitely a good one, and I hope that the reps from CPL are listening. But again, thank you so much for your contribution. We are still taking your calls. It is 11:55. We'll just take one more call, and then we will close out our program here on 1FM 98.9. Yes, we had a conversation with Chris Watson, and he is the head of CPL's marketing team, and we had that very exciting discussion about the announcement that CPL will be hosted right here in St. Kitts come August. As I mentioned before, I was following social media, and there were some people who had the vaccine hesitancy. Since the announcement of CPL, they have said that they will take the vaccine. And so, with the announcement of CPL, Some persons are saying, well, I want to attend. I am a big fan. I want to lend my support to the hosting of this event here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so that is why I'm going to go out and be a part of the program. But it is it's a big deal. It's a big deal here for us in St. Kitts and Nevis. Again, for me, and like others, I would assume people are focusing on the economic benefits as to what we stand to benefit from hosting CPL. And, as the marketing officer spoke about some of the revenue that other host countries received, it may be different now because of the coronavirus pandemic. But yes, you have the restaurants, the hotels, the caterers, people in the marketing business, and people benefiting directly and indirectly. It is 11:57. We have no callers at this time, so we will begin closing out our program. Again, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule to listen to Inside the News here on WinFM 98.9. We had head of CPL's marketing, Mr. Chris Watson. And of course, the conversation was centered around the big announcement that came this week that St. Kitts will be hosting CPL come August. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Of course, those of you at home and abroad, continue to have a super Saturday. It's a long holiday weekend coming up. You can go to the beach, you can relax, and you can have some good time with your family and friends. Have a safe one. Continue to wear a mask and practice non-pharmaceutical measures to keep us safe from the coronavirus disease. Continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis safe. We have been doing well by the grace of God with our people here on the ground, adhering to the protocols. Thank you guys so much. Big shout out to the COVID-19 task force. They are and have been overwhelmed. They're trying their best. Yes, they're human and they will make some mistakes. They will come under scrutiny for making some mistakes, but they are working overtime, they're working tirelessly, and they're making sure that St. Kitts and Nevis continues on its track record of managing and grappling with the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. You are listening to Inside the News on WinFM 98.9. Today is Saturday, May 1, 2021, and today is the birthday of El Quamido Tanito Willett over there on Nevis, a former Nevisian cricketer. Happy birthday, Mr. Willett, and have a blessed birthday. Have a super Saturday, everyone, and thank you guys so much for listening.
Found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and Development Bank.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Everyone struggles at times. Even we too have our own struggles. Do you have a loan at the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis and have fallen behind on your payments because of financial difficulties? Have your financial situation changed? If your answer is yes, visit the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis or call 465-2288, extension 1101, or 469-5416 to make an appointment to discuss our debt evaluation and restructuring plan with one of our qualified officers. We are committed to working with you to make a sustained positive difference in your life.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or telephone number 466-9594.
With the WIN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Devon Cornelius.
Making the headlines,
who will lead the Labour Party after Dr. Douglas?
St. Kitts and Nevis records its 45th confirmed COVID-19 case. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States calls upon the U.S. to shore up regions' access to vaccines. In the Bahamas, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is addressing a vaccine hesitancy and said women are at greater risk of getting blood clots from taking birth control or hormone supplements than from getting the vaccine. The business community in Barbados is worried about the country's economic outlook after the central bank governor issued a report of the economic performance for the country's first quarter. Internationally, coronavirus infections across India have reached another record high, with more than 380,000 new cases and nearly 3,500 deaths reported. Now, the details.
Member of Parliament for East Bastia, the Honourable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, says if he is called to succeed Dr. Denzil Douglas as the political leader of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, he will not give the red light to such an opportunity. The opposition parliamentarian responded to the question posed on WIN's Popular Voices programme on Friday, April 30th.
As for the party leadership, if the party members, the rank and file, demonstrate that they want me as their leader. And of course, you know, we have a democratic process for that, Mr. Cornelius. I would not reject such an opportunity. I do not see such evidence as yet, but I stand ready and properly prepared to take on that mantle with God's guidance and His leading.
The 89-year-old SKNLP is the oldest active political party in the Caribbean. Under Dr. Douglas's leadership, The ESCA NLP won general elections in 1995, 2000, 2004, and 2010. The ESCA NLP lost at the polls in 2015 and 2020 to the three-party Team Unity Alliance of the People's Action Movement PAM, the Concerned Citizens Movement CCM, and the People's Labour Party PLP. Dr. Jeffrey Hanley defeated Ian Patches-Libert of the People's Action Movement in the June 5, 2020 general elections.
After some 6 weeks, St. Kitts and Nevis has confirmed an additional COVID-19 case. The announcement was made on April 30th, where it stated that the National landed in the Federation on Wednesday, April 28th, 2021, from the United States of America. The National is currently in quarantine at one of the COVID-19 certified sites and has been since arrival and is now in isolation. The total number of COVID-19 confirmed cases now stand at 45, with 31 cases for St. Kitts and 14 cases for Nevis. 44 cases have fully recovered and the Federation has not recorded a death from COVID-19. In an update on the amount of first doses administered as of April 29th, 12,570 people have gotten their first doses, with 9,544 on St. Kitts and 3,026 on Nevis. No fully vaccinated people have been recorded. COVID-19 has shown that it knows no boundaries. So if we are going to beat COVID, we need to do it together, reads a release from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. The OECS is calling on the U.S. to partner with them in fighting the coronavirus pandemic in ensuring that the region becomes fully vaccinated against the disease. The statement continued, "While we have been able to manage the pandemic in the OECS with case fatality rates and case per population rates lower than the global average, we continue to be disproportionately affected by the economic fallout of COVID due to our highly tourism-dependent economies. Another way the region has been affected is the inequitable distribution of vaccines globally. In the United States, 60% of the population have received at least one dose of the vaccine. And the OECS is reporting that in the Eastern Caribbean that only 22% of the eligible population have received the first dose. The main cause, the availability of vaccines. Without access to vaccines necessary to reach populations, the OECS says it is difficult to be able to facilitate entry and exit requirements that facilitate the ability of the U.S. government to assist in any emergency, including COVID-19 related restrictions on entry by U.S. and other foreign nationals, affecting timely distribution of humanitarian aid. St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to experience volcanic activity at La Soufrière volcano and the Caribbean, a month away from another upcoming and reportedly uncertain hurricane season. The ability to deal with COVID-19 will be mutually impacted. The statement from the OECS suggests that the U.S. has the power to easily cover the region's populations with the surpluses of vaccines that for now are not even being used within the U.S. Additionally, the Eastern Caribbean and southern coasts of the U.S. are economically tied through the tourism industries. The statement also pointed out that although the region and the southern U.S. are tied through tourism, the recent travel advisory update for Barbados, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines is especially concerning, specifically citing St. Lucia's CDC travel advisory level, which increased from 3 to 4 despite cases reportedly on the decline, and testing has increased, the main criteria used for assessment by the CDC. In the Bahamas, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is addressing a vaccine hesitancy and said women are at greater risk of getting blood clots from taking birth control or hormone supplements than from getting the vaccine. Eyewitness News reports.
The Prime Minister continues his push for herd immunity as the fight against COVID-19 intensifies. During the opening of the passport office earlier today, the Prime Minister says vaccinations are the only way out of the COVID-19 pandemic. He also addressed overwhelming concerns concerning blood clots, especially for those women. He says they pose a greater risk than taking the jab.
Men who are taking birth control pills are at greater risk
for clot formation than the vaccine. The vaccine is rare. Women who are taking hormone supplements are at greater risk for clot formation than the vaccine. Clot and the vaccines are very rare. And for those of you who are thinking of becoming pregnant, or those who are pregnant, you are at greater risk for clot formation than the vaccine. Now, I know you want to get pregnant.
Well, the Prime Minister's comments coming at the opening of the passport office in Eleuthera today. He also gave an update on the plans for a water company to withdraw their services out of 3 family islands, including Inagua, San Salvador, and Eleuthera. Now, the Prime Minister says it's a work in progress.
I think that matter is being resolved. I've spoken with the Minister of Works this morning, and I've spoken to both he and the Financial Secretary. And as I speak to you now, they're aggressively resolving that matter.
The business community in Barbados is worried about the country's economic outlook after the central bank governor issued a report of the economic performance for the country's first quarter. Barbados Today has the story.
A day after the central bank governor delivered a grim report card of the island's economic performance for the first 3 months of the year, the business sector says the outlook is worrying. The island posted a double-digit decline near 20% and is only likely to record modest growth of 1 to 3% this year. Chairman of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Edward Clark, tells Barbados Today the slowdown in economic activity from January to March was not surprising, but there's much uncertainty ahead. He says it's clear the island must keep a tight hold on the COVID-19 pandemic, insisting that another shutdown is out of the question.
The outlook is very dependent on what happens in the tourism sector, which we have little control on the global market space at this time. But a lot depends on how we manage our own situation here, how we control our own COVID management, and the protocols and so on that are in place. We have to ensure that we do what we need to do, follow the protocols, and get as many people vaccinated as possible to prevent any widespread COVID at this time or in the future. Because the country really can't afford another shutdown. It's as simple as that. And businesses, as you can see, are struggling. Unemployment is struggling. People need jobs, and we just can't. There's not enough economic activity to drive employment at this time.
He also pointed to the recent ashfall from the La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent and a number of bank holidays leading up to midday, which also dampened business activity.
So we have to bide our time, try and make sure we are prepared when tourism does come back. But we need to find ways to stimulate the economy other ways and to try and get some other economic activity in the Capital Works program and so on, both on the public and private sector side moving.
We now bring you these international reports.
Manika Gold sits by her husband's hospital bed just hours after she lost her mother to COVID-19. She's managed to find him oxygen, but not the ventilator doctors say he needs.
My mom expired in the morning today because of lack of ventilator. There was no ventilator, otherwise she couldn't survive. Now again, he needs ventilator support. Doctor says we have 2 days. I have tried, I don't know, thousands of numbers across India. Nobody is helping.
India's underfunded healthcare system is collapsing as it's overwhelmed by the world's biggest surge in cases. There are long lines outside oxygen suppliers around the country.
There's tension here as people wait in the hope of getting oxygen for their sick relatives. Some have been waiting for more than 12 hours. But with hospitals out of beds and oxygen, these suppliers are many people's only hope.
Aid began arriving from other countries this week, with the first cargo from the US touching down in New Delhi on Friday. The military plane was carrying more than 400 oxygen cylinders, hospital equipment, and nearly 1 million rapid tests. The US will also send hundreds of thousands of vaccines and the raw materials needed to manufacture more. That's as many states say they don't have enough doses to start inoculating all adults from Saturday as planned.
We were preparing for the vaccination campaign,
And we started mega campaigns also. We trained thousands of our healthcare workers and doctors, etc., to start this mega vaccination campaign. But there is no vaccine with us.
Health experts say the government failed to prepare for the second wave.
India was lucky enough to have a second wave, which was delayed compared to many other countries out there. And we had a relatively long time to see what has happened to the rest of the world in terms of how severe the second wave was. And unfortunately, as a public health researcher, I sort of failed to see the kind of preparation that I was expecting that the government would be doing in the last 1 year.
Manika says her mother wasn't a victim of COVID-19, but a lack of preparedness by the government, and that she doesn't know what she'll tell her 8-year-old son if she goes home without his father. Elizabeth Puranam, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
Rio de Janeiro's iconic Copacabana beach, covered with hundreds of body bags, a tribute to the 400,000 Brazilians who lost their lives to COVID-19.
We cannot accept these deaths quietly. If we do, we will be accomplices of the crimes committed by those who govern us. That's why we staged this awareness campaign.
Antonio Carlos blames President Jair Bolsonaro for downplaying the virus and delaying the vaccine rollout.
Em plena pandemia.
While people were dying and starving, he was riding a jet ski and participating in anti-democratic protests to shut down Congress and the Supreme Court. But he was only able to do this because he still has the support of many Brazilians.
Every hour, the group held a symbolic funeral, a reminder that the pandemic in Brazil is spreading rapidly and is far from over. Vaccine shortages have put the inoculation campaign on hold in many cities. Brazil's health minister, Marcelo Queiroga, made an appeal during a World Health Organization briefing on Friday.
We're calling again on those who have vaccine surplus to share it with Brazil as soon as possible so we can move forward, broaden our vaccination campaign, contain the pandemic at this critical time, and avoid the proliferation of new variants.
Brazil is the second country in the world to have reached the grim milestone of 400,000 deaths by COVID-19. But it's not the only country in the region facing difficulties. Latin America as a whole is taking a turn for the worse.
The region accounts for more than 1/3 of coronavirus deaths in the world, but only has 1/8 of the population.
Today, most of the countries in the southern cone and the Andean region are going through new peaks of transmission. Countries like Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, Argentina, Uruguay, and Guyana are reporting a dramatic rise in infections, and their health services are overwhelmed.
Infections in Colombia are also rising, and hospitals in big cities like Bogotá and Medellín are running out of beds. Monica Yanakiev, Al Jazeera, Rio de Janeiro.
It's the end of an era in New York's Hudson Valley. The Indian Point nuclear power plant is coming offline. At one time, it employed 1,000 people here and provided about half of the tax revenue for the village of Buchanan, not to mention a quarter of the electricity used by New York City.
I lived here all my life.
Buchanan Mayor Teresa Knickerbocker believes the plant has been a good neighbor.
You are crying. No, it's to me, it's something that didn't have to happen. It's really a sad day for us because Indian Point has been a huge part of our history.
Indian Point isn't safe. You can't just say, well, let's keep it online when you've had the number of mishaps, the number of structural issues, when you're looking at a 60-year-old design. Solar and battery.
Environmentalists like Paul Gallay disagree. His nonprofit organization Riverkeeper fought long and hard for the plant's closure, which was announced by the state's governor in 2017.
By 2025, we will have 3 times as much clean energy and energy efficiency combined as Indian Point used to generate.
Increasingly, though, questions are being raised about how the state will replace its output, and claims the loss of the plant will be offset by renewable energy sources, given 2 new natural gas burning facilities are being built in the state. A new generation of environmentalists is challenging the assumption that nuclear power is too dangerous, and they're making their views known all over New York, pointing out that nuclear power is carbon-free at a time when climate scientists say we need to dramatically cut carbon emissions. Activists say it's a national concern.
We have 3 more plants in upstate New York, and we have many plants all over the country that are in danger of being shut down.
This area is not contaminated.
Mayor Knickerbocker can vouch for the benefits of living in a nuclear neighborhood.
To replace this nuclear power plant with 0 carbon emissions for gas-fired plants, that doesn't make any sense to me. That really just boggles my mind. How is that helping the environment?
She wishes others had spoken up sooner. Kristen Salumi, Al Jazeera, Buchanan, New York.
You were listening to the WinFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were:
who will lead the Labour Party after Dr. Douglas?
St. Kitts and Nevis records its 45th confirmed COVID-19 case. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States calls upon the U.S. to shore up regions' access to vaccines. In the Bahamas, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is addressing a vaccine hesitancy and said women are at greater risk of getting blood clots from taking birth control or hormone supplements than from getting the vaccine. The business community in Barbados is worried about the country's economic outlook after the central bank governor issued a report of the economic performance for the country's first quarter. Internationally, coronavirus infections across India have reached another record high, with more than 380,000 new cases and nearly 3,500 deaths reported. Thank you for listening.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The WinFM Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and Development Bank.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Everyone struggles at times. Even we too have our own struggles. Do you have a loan at the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis and have fallen behind on your payments because of financial difficulties? Have your financial situation changed? If your answer is yes, visit the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis or call 465-2288, extension 1101, or 469-5416 to make an appointment to discuss our debt evaluation and restructuring plan with one of our qualified officers. We are committed to working with you to make a sustained positive difference in your life.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
People make the world go
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Good afternoon and welcome back to Inside the News here on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for this afternoon, Devon Cornelius. Again, good afternoon to all of you who have joined us via the radio. Of course, those at home and abroad. Those of you who have joined via social media, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of our program today. I'm Devon Cornelius, the host for today, and thank you so much for tuning in. It is indeed a beautiful Saturday here in St. Kitts and Nevis. It is 32 minutes past the hour of 12, and you are tuned into WinFM 98.9. Just some breaking news. St. Kitts and Nevis has recorded its 45th confirmed COVID-19 case. We have a caller who wants to get in and share their views. Caller, we seem to have lost that call. Yes, so as I was saying before, after some 6 weeks, St. Kitts and Nevis has confirmed an additional case of COVID-19, and the announcement was made on April 30th, where it stated that the national landed in the Federation on Wednesday from the USA. We have a caller. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon. I have a question that's been on my mind now for quite some time. We've been doing well for this past year when it comes to people coming into the country infected with this COVID-19. And we have flights that coming in. I don't think any flight coming in with 200, 300 people on any one flight. But here's my concern. Ever so often, the cases that we have are imported. Whether it's people who belong to here or visitors, I really don't know. Right? The tourism department is putting a lot of pressure on the taxi people to get vaccinated. And the tour people are saying that if the taxi people not vaccinated, they're not going to allow their tourists to get into the taxi or something similar. But what guarantee do we have from the tour people outside that each person who step on that boat to come into St. Kitts, because they're going to be here temporarily, only for a few hours, there's no way we're going to be able to trap them to find out what's happening.
What do you mean,
what
guarantee?
Guarantee do we have
in terms of vaccination?
That each person who step foot on this boat are vaccinated? That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution, and thank you so much for your question. What I would say to you is that I think the relevant authorities would take that decision in terms of knowing how to identify persons who have taken the vaccine. And so in order for you to access a service or a facility, you would have to present some proof or evidence of vaccination that you have been vaccinated against the coronavirus disease. So I don't think it would be as easy as saying, well, I have taken the vaccine, because anyone can say that they have taken the vaccine. Anyone can say that. But I think when we get to that point, the relevant authority would institute a policy that in order for you to, access this facility, access this service, or to get whatever you're looking for, you would have to show proof of vaccinations, that you have been vaccinated, sorry. We are seeing other countries are doing it, where in order for you to access a service or facility, you have to show proof that you have been vaccinated. There are countries that announced that they would decrease the quarantine time for fully vaccinated travelers. And so if you have been fully vaccinated means that you have received both doses of the vaccine. So if you only took one dose, you have not been fully vaccinated, and you're not fully protected against the effects of the coronavirus disease. And so essentially my response to your question would be they would put in place a policy where you have to show proof that you have been vaccinated. We have another caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Me again. That's you show proof before you're allowed to go on the boat to take the cruise. That's what I meant. You must show proof that you are vaccinated before you can go on the boat, the tourist boat, the boat that brings them here to St. Kitts.
Right.
Because you're saying access the service. I am a little confused here. I was just wondering if these people would be allowed to travel, to go on the boat, to go to these other islands without showing proof that they are vaccinated. Because like I said already before, they're putting so much pressure on the taxi people here and the people who are working in tourism to get vaccinated. I would that a similar thing must be done to the people who come in on the boat. The people who come in on the boat must have, because just recently I was reading about a woman in St. Thomas who had some false documentation that she was vaccinated, and she was arrested, you know. So I was just wondering if it's going to be as stringent as all taxi people here having to get vaccinated before a tourist is allowed to set foot on St. Kitts. I mean, from a tourist boat. So I don't know if you understand me clearly, but I think you did. But I just didn't understand the way you explained it a while ago. So sorry about that. I just called back just to make sure that we're on the same wavelength. Thank you.
Right, and thank you so much again for your contribution. There have been cruise lines that announced that they will be doing sales for fully vaccinated travelers or guests. And so you would only be able to board this cruise ship if you can show that you have been fully vaccinated. I would quote an article that was published on March 29, 2021 by the Travel Weekly website, which says several cruise lines require vaccines, but not everybody is on board. Of course, people would have their own view on the matter. This summer, Royal Caribbean International, Celebrity Cruises, and Crystal Cruises will launch the first large ship ocean cruises in North America in more than a year, but with a caveat: adults and crew must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And so essentially, in order for you to go on this cruise ship, even before you can book your ticket, you have to show proof that you have been fully vaccinated against the coronavirus disease. So again, I am not giving you confirmation from our authorities here in St. Kitts and Nevis as to what the protocols will be via the seaports, but I am referring to steps other countries and cruise lines have taken, where they're saying that crew and the adults that would be on the cruise ship have to show that they have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And just like other countries are doing, in order for you to access any service now, they're saying, well, we would prefer that you show us proof that you have been vaccinated in order for you to be here. You know, just like the sporting events all across the region and across the globe, they're saying fully vaccinated spectators can mix and mingle. We have another caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Devon.
Good afternoon, Miss Henry.
Cornelius or Brown, which one?
Cornelius.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius, and good afternoon to all of the listeners at home and abroad. This morning I had on my television and the news, I think I had on BBC. And have you heard about the measure in Australia?
No, enlighten me.
Australia is saying any citizens, you know, who try to enter Australia from India would be criminally charged. I think it's $5,000. So if you attempt to enter into your own country, because you know we like the thing about in my own country I could come.
So just for some clarity, if they try to enter illegally?
No. Remember that they have certain countries they don't come from. for India is one because of the outbreak. Because sometimes you may have a ban on certain countries, and then your citizens may be allowed to come. So they say that you can check it out. Check it out.
I will.
Now our people, we're not taking this thing seriously, And the question they asked a while ago, there's also going to be onboard testing, because if you recall, when the corona broke out, a number of ships were at sea for months because the crew and the passengers were infected. In fact, people died on ships.
Right.
So up to now, the CDC or whatever has not given them the clearance because of the catastrophe. So they are going to do everything in their power to protect themselves. So on the ground, I don't know why are we begging to be infected? We're begging. We're literally begging. We're not taking anything seriously. In the U.S., it says 60% already gotten their first vaccine. 60%. Other countries coming up. We're only at, 36, 37%?
About 37%, yes.
About 37 to 38%. 37 point something. I think you work it to about 38. Now, under which kind of rule and logic can we really want us to just throw back the door? And we want to work on the economy. Are you serious about the economy? You heard the news on WinFM about Barbados. The impact the corona is having on the economy. I tell Dr. Harris, give them the truth. If they hear no pay next month, I bet you they reach. We don't seem to understand. We ain't taking none, but we want to work. Work with whom? You're putting yourself at risk. I heard somebody was asking about the cricket. In fact, somebody said, and the players are going to mingle between the people. Who tell them that? Mm-hmm. The players have to stay in a bubble,
Yeah, they have to quarantine.
And
they will be tested. They will be tested.
In Trinidad, that could easily shut down the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And before you continue,
a small little joke.
Before you continue, Miss Henry, there's a lot of misinformation out there with the recent announcement of CPL.
People don't even reason. I wouldn't mind if you have a misinformation, you reason it out. And you go up the park and the mix and the mingle and the drink and by the bar. Who tells you so? Is hundreds, maybe millions of dollars invested in this thing, And they're not going to allow some idle or some negligent cricketer to throw off the whole thing. So if you don't want to vaccinate, but you want to go to the park and you want to volunteer, where do you fit in? We're not talking about cough and cold. I think this is it, We have not seen it. Or those of us who watch India say, it's over in India. India is not a backward country, in case you don't know, India is not a backward country. You must get this backward story. Neither is Africa. We were taught so, but it's not so. It just happened that they were busy supplying other people. And other people like you who don't want none, we ain't got no serious corona, so all of them go jumping in the river, and politicians contribute. We're having a meeting because we want them to vote for us. You see this labor weekend coming up?
The weekend of activities.
The leaders of the movement and the party taking into consideration the effect their mass gathering can have on the country?
Well, if I may respond to that, Ms. Henry, other political parties have been having events such as these. However, hold on. However, the task force would have granted the permission. The task force granted the permission for these activities to be held under certain conditions and
Well, that's what I
restrictions.
want. What is the number like? What is the number? 300?
The number is for outdoor events 150, depending on the size of the venue, and then for indoor
you think our
events
people don't listen to
100.
that? You know, we're very ignorant people, you know, sorry to say so. You know, we're very ignorant. They can't tell me what. They do it in churches, they do it in everything. And politicians, these politicians, you know, I don't care which side. In India, it is that they're having mass rallies. If you are thinking about your own survivors, stay away from them. I don't care if it is unity, punity, labor, PAM, whatever. You have got to work out, as the Bible said, work out your own salvation and take the thing seriously. It only wants one to get away in this country.
Right. Thank you so much, Ms. Henry, for your
All right,
contribution. We are still taking calls here, your calls here at 1FM 98.9 for another edition of Inside the News. If I may respond to a question that was posed via our WhatsApp chat, since anyone under 18 are not allowed to take the vaccine, will they be on these cruise? Some cruise lines and companies have said that the adults would have to show proof that they have been vaccinated, and children would have to show a negative PCR test, a negative COVID-19 test. And so, yes, you're under the age of 18, you will not be able to take the vaccine, but you would have to show proof that you are negative of the coronavirus disease. If we have no calls at this time, let us take a break, and we will be back to continue our program. You are listening to WinFM 98.9 with your host, Devon Cornelius, with another edition of Inside the News. Stay tuned.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
People make the world go.
Welcome back to Inside the News, Win FM 98.9. I'm your host, Devon Cornelius. Good afternoon to all of you who are listening at home and abroad. Of course, those of you who have joined us via social media. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be a part of our program today. This is Inside the News. Today is Saturday, May 1, 2021. And so we started about having a conversation with COVID-19, and we're now with the vaccination. The last question that was posed via our WhatsApp number, which is 662-2204. Someone asked whether people under the age of 18 would be allowed to go on the cruise, considering that they are not eligible to take the vaccine. However, cruise lines have said, cruise companies have said, if you're under the age of 18, you would have to show proof that you have been vaccinated. And so this is the stance that these companies are taking, and we're seeing a movement or a shift in policy across the Caribbean region and across the world, where people are saying, you know, again, in order for you to be here, in order for you to use this facility, in order for you to take advantage of whatever is being offered at the moment, you have to show proof that you have taken the COVID-19 vaccine. And so, generally speaking, you may not see a legislation or a rule or whatever that says you must take the vaccine. But in order for you to go to the grocery store, you have to show proof at the door that you've been vaccinated by, I don't know, probably swiping your vaccination card or something along that lines. And so that is the conversation that we're having. We are still taking your calls here on WinFM 98.9. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. You can also call us at, or send us a message, at 662-2204. 662-2204. You can pose your questions, and we're having a conversation about the COVID-19 vaccine. As I was saying earlier, yes, we have recorded another case of the virus, and this was announced yesterday, Friday, April 30th, where it stated that the national landed in the Federation on Wednesday, April 28th, from the USA. And the national is currently in quarantine at one of the COVID-19 certified sites and has been there since arrival and is now in isolation, which is the usual protocol. When you land, you would have to be placed in quarantine. And so now the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases now stand at 45, with 31 cases for St. Kitts and 14 cases for Nevis. 44 cases have fully recovered, and the Federation has not recorded a death from COVID-19. In an update on the number of first doses administered, as of April 29th, 12,570 persons have gotten their first dose, with 9,554 on St. Kitts and 3,026 on Nevis. No fully vaccinated people have been recorded as yet. The authorities have said that the numbers are not as good as they would want them to see. The Premier of Nevis did make a clarion call for people on Nevis to take advantage of the vaccine, which is being offered free of cost at all health centers on the island. Nevis has a population of just more than 14,000, and to date only 3,026 have taken the vaccine, and so they are looking for an increase in the numbers. And so there continues to be, the call to encourage people to get vaccinated. Of course, it is your personal choice. And so people have been taking advantage of the opportunity, and the government has been hosting a number of education and outreach programs. We have a caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Inside the News.
Good afternoon again. There's nobody calling. Now I must commend Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, who was on your station yesterday, who said that he took the vaccination and he should be taking his second dose on the 5th of May. Now that is a deviation from many of his colleagues. They have different ways of saying don't take it, And I believe, saying it is so tribal. I don't know which tribes we come from. We come from the Unity tribe and the Labour tribe. And there are many of us who make our decision, our life decision based on our political affiliation. And so I often ask the question, if your party was in power, would you have taken the vaccine? Would you be so adamant in your determination that you're not going to take it? And it goes on both sides, eh? I tell you, we're very tribal, Whether we support or we don't support is often based on our political allegiance. And this is why I say all of the political leaders, because they know the significance, eh? They know the significance. Should show support for the vaccination, while it is still up to the person. Now, it is easier for people from East Bastia now to take the vaccine, eh? Because you could say, well, Jeffrey take it. He didn't kill him, so I could take it too. I don't have to feel like I am betraying my party or betraying my representative. But when you have this kind of thing going on, and I listen to them, they know who they are.
Mm-hmm. Before you continue, Ms. Henry, you said he took the vaccine and it did not kill him, and so they should too. I think you should retract that statement because you don't.
No, I'm saying that they might reason.
No,
Remember,
I think you should. You retract that statement.
We're talking about tribal behavior.
I think you should retract that statement.
It didn't kill him. He alive.
But you said it did not kill him, and so they should take it. What are you?
I said somebody. I put up the scenario that one of his constituents may say. This is what I said. One of his constituents may say, Jeffrey took it, and it didn't kill him, so I can take it. That is exactly what I said.
No, you did not say that.
All right, let's pass. You go out back, check it when I finish. So what I'm saying is this. We have people who are vying for leadership or in leadership, whether in politics or in business or in religion. Because we have this thing going on in the churches too, where people make comments, while it is not an outright don't take it, it is still on the negative side. I mean, we might as well face it. And then they're the same ones who want the economy to move on. If an older person could risk, older people more at risk, and they are the ones taking it. And, we talk about black people and who trying to kill black people, and the vaccine designed to kill black people. And the truth is the non-blacks who rushing to get the vaccine. So that kind of logic beats me. How come this thing designed to kill black people and non-blacks rushing to get it? And in the countries where the majority is non-black, millions taking it. What kind of logic is that? What kind of logic is that? And so I call upon our leaders. We have group leaders, political leaders, church leaders, all kind of leaders, even in commerce. Oh, they want the economy to move on, but they don't want to support it. So it's simple, you don't want it. The other option is you have to be tested. Nobody talking about that, oh, they make it mandatory. I haven't heard much people say that people are given an option. You don't hear that. You don't hear that. You either take the vaccine or you take the test. It's simple. But mandatory. You have an option. And so I call upon our so-called leaders.
But before you continue, Miss Henry, just before you continue, you take the vaccine or you take the test, whether it be every 2 weeks, and so you have to find, let's say the test costs $250, just general reference, and so you're now stuck between taking the vaccine, which you have said you do not want to take, versus paying for a negative test every 2 weeks that would cost you in the region of, let's say, $250. Don't you think that is a mandatory measure?
No.
Why?
You have an option. When you decide you're not going to take it, you actually choose the other side.
But if you understand what I am saying, you're talking to people who work in the tourism industry, and I would assume that are now working at a reduced income. Now, some have said that they prefer not to take the vaccine, and some have taken it, and some have taken the vaccine already.
So
hold on, Miss Henry, hold on, let me finish. Hold on. And so you are now faced with that you're stuck in that moment, whether you should take the vaccine or you should find the money to pay for a test, whether it be every week or every 2 weeks. I think that's a mandatory measure.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It can't be.
Yes, it is.
Look. You do this or you do that.
Yes, it is, because you're basically being forced.
You're not being forced.
That is my opinion.
Choose not to take the vaccine. Nobody force you. If they force you, they hold you down and give it to you. That's force. Listen to me. You volunteer to take it or you refuse to take it. It's simple. If I say I don't want it, then I have automatically chosen the other option. Or if I am in, let's take a Seventh Adventist, for example, just as, not picking on them. You become a Christian, say in the Adventist church, and they worship on a Saturday. And you're determined to keep your doctrine. You have to make a decision. You think everybody in there just choose the job they have? We got to understand that whenever we make a decision, choices are before us, choices cost the person who decides to take it. Take a risk, you know that? The person who decides to take the vaccine take a risk. And everything has a cost. So if you work in the hotel industry, you're going to come up against people who come from you in very close contact. And if I ain't taking none, well, you have automatically chosen to be tested. And if you decide, well, I can't afford it, you still have two options. You either take it or you change your occupation. Simple,
And you don't think that's a mandatory approach?
No. How could it be mandatory? I mean, be reasonable.
So,
how could it? Just you do rationalize it.
Wow. Well, that is your opinion, Mrs. Henry. That is your opinion.
Mandatory mean they make you do it.
That is your opinion.
You got a reason,
No.
Logical.
That is your
either
opinion.
Take it or you don't take it.
It is my opinion that it is a mandatory measure, and I stand by that. And it is your opinion that it is not. But thank you so much for your contribution. We are still taking other calls here. It is 6 minutes past the hour of one of the numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. We are still taking your calls. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule to listen to our program. This is Inside the News here on 1FM 98.9. We have a caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Hi, good afternoon. I wanted to first ask, how many types of vaccines are there available on St. Kitts?
One, the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine.
Okay, so that I'm sure would explain maybe the hesitancy of some people wanting to take the vaccine, because I'm sure we've all heard about the problems, some of the problems, I should say, with that vaccine. So maybe if there were other options available, there might be more people who would want to take the vaccine. What do you think?
Well, if I may respond to that, at the Wednesday, April 28th press conference by the Premier of Nevis, who also serves as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, he indicated that the federal government has been actively pursuing to get other vaccines. They have engaged with Pfizer, according to the Foreign Affairs Minister. However, the demand is so high that Pfizer would
and
not...
I did actually hear a statement from him regarding the availability of that particular vaccine.
Right. And
But
so
I've
those
also
are
heard-
some of the challenges that they face. But with regards to other vaccine, I cannot give an answer with that.
There was mention, I did hear mention about vaccines from Cuba. So I was wondering if they had the Federation sought to get maybe other vaccines, especially like from Cuba and, the other vaccines available in the U.S., but I'm not sure about the availability of those to the Caribbean islands.
Right. Well, as I've said, the government has said that they're actively pursuing to get other vaccines. However, they continue to face difficulties and challenges as, of course, the demand for the vaccine is very, very high. As it is now, the World Health Organization has approved the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, the Pfizer and the Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. And so, the Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca. And here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the government is administering the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. But in terms of whether we will get another vaccine, whether it be the Moderna or the Pfizer, I don't know.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much for your call and your contribution. Let's take a short break to say thank you to our sponsors. You have a call on the line? We have no call on the line. Let's take a break to say thank you to our sponsors, and we will be back to continue our program. It is 10 minutes past the hour of 1 here in the studios of WinFM 98.9. Stay tuned.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Gift for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free U.S. mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience. Free consolidation up to 10 pounds. Competitive rates. Free package tracking account with live notifications. Free delivery and, of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
People make the world go round.
We have some callers on the line. Let us take these calls. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I think your earlier caller was engaging in semantics, really. Okay? I mean, if you say, do this, or face these consequences, and those consequences are unreasonable or impossible for you to meet, you are, in fact, mandating it.
Right.
Okay? It is caution. Okay? I don't know why you have to beat around the bush with something like that. And I'm saying that why not try other methods? I mean, as soon as you bring in caution, you're going to get pushback. You can be assured of that. I mean, in a democracy, people like choice. People like to know they're in control of what they do. Okay? And anything that mitigates against that, you can be sure that there are some people, just because they like the freedom to do as they feel, okay, there will be pushback. And why not try other methods, knowing what I just said? Okay, like, for instance, providing the choice. I know Mr. Brantley, for instance, said they had engaged, I think it was Pfizer.
Right.
And they were told that it would not be possible to enter into negotiation before July or something like that.
Yes.
Okay? But at least there are other vaccines out there. At least try to get that so that those people who want a choice can have that choice. Okay? And apart from the choice, you allay people's fears about the vaccine, taking the vaccine generally. Some people just don't feel that they should be introducing anything foreign in their bodies unless they have to. Okay? Some people might be waiting until people take their second doses to see what effects there may be. Right? You know, there are things like these. I mean, it's not a do or die right now kind of thing. And to allay people's fears further, they could, for instance, have some kind of screening for susceptibility to blood clotting, or tell the people that if there are cases, in the rare event that there are cases of this, our medical services, have the capacity to handle it. Okay? These are things that can be done to mitigate against the vaccine hesitancy. All right? So try other things. You don't have to come down on people simply because they have reservations for whatever reason about taking the vaccine. Okay? I think eventually we'll probably get to the herd immunity, but we should be paying more attention to persuasion, right, rather than caution. I think that's the bottom line. Okay, it's the strategies employed that some people are upset with, right? Persuade them, don't coerce them, right? And it can be done. It might be more difficult, might be easier to say do it or else, but in the long run, we should look at what the goal is to get herd immunity, all right? And so figure out the best way of doing that. Okay, then.
Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution to our program, and thank you so much for calling in. It is 16 minutes past the hour of 1 here in our studios at WinFM 98.9, and you are listening to Inside the News right here with your host, Devon Cornelius. We are still taking your calls. It is 1:16, sorry. And we are still taking your calls. The numbers to call for the first time, listeners, are 466-098-9762 and 662. You can also send us your comment by WhatsApp at 662-2204. 662-2204. We have a caller. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon again. Now, I want to ask a question. Now, this question about other vaccine. Now, we're under the COVAX. Have the persons who indicate that they would prefer a different vaccine, would they be willing to pay to bring it in? I've thought about it, you don't want this one. The one you want is out there. Would you be willing, get your group together, whether 6 of you, 10 of you, and have the vaccine you want shipped in? Would you think those people would be willing to pay?
If I think they would be willing to pay?
Ah.
I don't know. I don't know the financial status, so I don't know if they would be willing or able to pay.
If you don't want this one, and you want another one that is not available under the COVAX, are you willing to pay to get it? And this thing about you can't drive a vehicle unless you have a license, We don't exaggerate. Imagine you can't do unless you could show that you're qualified. Many people can drive, but they don't have a license. So why they need a license to drive on the road? These are the arguments we're holding. You have your CXC. Well, I was in the same class with Devon, and I was brighter than Devon. So even to join the armed forces, the defense force, they say, bring your thing and bring proof of your certification. In life is made up of choices. Choices have consequences. And those of us who know better, we should help our people. It's simple, help our people. Get together. You don't want this one. Get together. Well, the Pfizer, they say, even in terms of transportation, is a problem, So, get together, get your resources together, and just get medical clearance to bring it in, and that will solve your problem. But until then, stop making excuses, stop acting as if our people are
So
stupid.
essentially you're saying if you don't want the AstraZeneca, go and buy your own.
Your mother never tell you, sir.
Okay.
If you want to cook, go buy something to eat.
Okay.
You don't hear that. I used to tell my children, I never cooked 2 pots in my life yet. If you don't want the soup, because someone didn't like soup, right?
Right. We have some other callers
All right,
on the
so
line.
just
Thank you so
y'all
much
think
for your
about that.
contribution. We are still taking your calls. Let us take this other caller. Oh, we seem to have lost that call. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. Also send us a comment via WhatsApp at 662-2204. You are listening to Inside the News on WinFM 98.9. This is Inside the News. It is 20 minutes past the hour of 1 and we have a caller. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Mr. Cornelius, I'm here trying to wrap my mind around what Miss Henry is saying. A license. Some time ago, when I went to the insurance, they said, look now, you have to take a test to make sure that you can renew your license. All of them were saying the same thing. Now, what's the difference between mandatory and choice? If I want to drive, I take the test, and I pass the test. So what's the difference between mandatory and your choice? I'm a little confused there now. I'm a little confused because they give you a choice. This is the regulation, the rule. You either take the vaccine or you pay for a test every 2 weeks. Well, so could you tell me what's the difference between choice and mandatory? Because I'm a little confused here. They put something out there that says, this is what you have to do. If you want to work here, this is what you have to do. Well, it's mandatory, so to speak, but then they're not forcing you. If I want to work there, then this is what I have to do. I either take the vaccine or take the test. If I don't want to work there, then I go home. So maybe You could explain that to me because I'm a little confused with it. They're forcing you, they're literally forcing you. If you want to work, two things you have to do. You either take the vaccine or you take the test. If you don't want to take the test, then you can't work, you go home. So you can force into the one or the other.
Yes, and as I've said before, I mean, that is my opinion. It's a It's a mandatory measure, and the authorities. Some people have said in other countries that these are some of the mandatory measures that we will take. It's not that they're going to hold you down and tie you down and jerk you with the needle, but they are putting you in a difficult position where you have to make
You have to make a decision.
You have to make a decision. So essentially,
If you want to work,
is mandatory.
You either do this. We're giving you two choices. This is what you do. If you don't want to do none, then you go home. Because when I went to work at this institution, quickly, I had to take a physical. I can't come and say, well, I took a physical last week. I had to go to their doctor and take a physical. And I had to pass the physical to work there. So that's mandatory. But the choice is now. I have a choice. It's either do it or don't do it. But they are saying, this is what you have to do if you want to work here. So they are making it mandatory for me to do it. I have a choice whether I want to do it or not. It ain't so. Eh?
Right.
No, I want you to tell me it ain't so.
Yes, I agree with your caller.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution. It is 24 minutes past the hour of 1. We'll just take one more call as we begin to wrap up our program here. We have a caller. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Yeah, man, let me ask you some quick questions, man. Good afternoon. How are you, man?
Good afternoon. I'm doing fine. And you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Around the vaccine conversation. Firstly, the Premier's comment on Nevis that persons who need to renew their work permits and stuff got to be vaccinated. And was that a mandate? That's the first question I want to throw out. Was that a mandate?
Essentially,
That's
it is
the
a
first question.
essentially it is a mandate
ahead.
because you have to show proof that you have been vaccinated if you would like to receive a work permit or renew a work permit or renew residency. So you essentially you either present proof that you have been vaccinated.
Okay. And also, like the hesitancy, I mean, I believe people still may have to ask themselves some critical questions because, like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, right? There were persons that was waiting for that vaccine because primarily it was the one dose. But then look at what happened when the vaccine came out. You know what I mean? They had to put it on hold. So persons that want to get options, like they're asking for the Cuban vaccine. Suppose when those Cuban vaccines come out, they have some, great side effects as well. Where is that going to put them in the hesitancy status? Where is that going to put people? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of critical questions that still got to be asked, man. But it's very interesting to see this go forward, man. All right, man, that's my contribution, man.
And thank you so much for your contribution to our program. It is 26 minutes past the hour. I think we may be able to take just one last caller. We have a call? We have no callers at this time. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. You can send us a comment at 662-2204. Thank you guys so much for taking... We have a caller on the line.
Hey, afternoon.
Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you said that if you take the two vaccine shots, you're going to develop some kind of antibody immunity for like 3 months or so. And I was just wondering, like, after the 3 months, you take the vaccine, you have your immunity, your antibodies or whatever. What's going to happen after that? Will your immunity die down? Will you need to be taking a vaccine for the rest of your life every year or something like that? I was just wondering.
Well,
And I was looking at something the other day on YouTube named Black Box TV with this lady. The title was Outcry from, I think it's Israel. And she was talking about the Pfizer vaccine and certain similar things were happening over there. It seemed to like you weren't happening here too. You know, except for one thing, she was saying that they're actually trying to vaccinate pregnant women, trying to scare them, tell them, come and save your baby and get vaccine. And that's what the Pfizer vaccine. You know, I think you should check it out one of these days. You know.
Right. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. Definitely, I'll do some research on that. But as it is now, in St. Kitts and Nevis, we're offering the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and persons who have taken both doses will be fully protected according to the health authorities. Meaning, not protected, sorry, but fully vaccinated. And so you have a better chance of being protected from the coronavirus disease. With regards to those other questions that you posed, I am not in a position to give a response to that. Nevertheless, thank you so much for your contribution, and I will seek to get some professional and medical advice and information on that. This was another edition of Inside the News here on WinFM 98.9 with your host, Devon Cornelius. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon to be a part of this program. Again, I just want to give a birthday shout out to El Quamido Willett. He is celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday, Mr. Willett, and I wish you God's speed and guidance and good health and strength. Thank you guys so much for listening to WinFM 98.9. Continue to have a super Saturday and have a wonderful holiday weekend. Enjoy your Labor Day and have some fun. Spend time with your family and friends and give thanks for life. This was another edition of Inside the News. Today is Saturday, May 1, 2021. Until next time, have a good one.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead.